What is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room, hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. Listen. Oh, my God. Well, I just talked about this yesterday, even though I know everybody's talking about it. I know everybody's talking about the Diddy of it all, the Homeland Security of it all, the raid of it all, everything. Some people are just on it 24/7 if they need to be. And kudos to those who have the time, energy, and strength to be able to do that. I don't. But I did recently talk about this briefly on yesterday, and I stated that the woman, one of his victims, the woman who got damaged in the face by a weapon, and you know what I mean, she yelled out Rico when she was responding to the lawsuit that Lil Rodney Jones had filed against Diddy and other people. She came out and responded to that. She didn't even come out really making a statement after the Cassie lawsuit, really. But after this one dropped, where there were actual screenshots of videos and messages and names and addresses and all of that stuff, I said, I felt like that woman was on to something and she knew what she was speaking. Well, she just recently was on a news station giving a brief little interview. And this is by way of the Neighborhood Talk. I want to share this. Her name is nataniareuben, and she was the victim of the nightclub shooting that Shyne, Diddy's former artist, was arrested, charged, and convicted of. And she said in that video that I shared yesterday, again, because I previously shared it before, where she was saying it wasn't Shyne, it was Diddy. And she's talked about Rico. And now she's speaking again, and she's saying she wants the case to be reopened.
Yeah, and you have said since really right after the shooting that it was P. Diddy who shot you. I think you even said it to the doctor that night, right?
I said it immediately. I literally watched them pull out the guns. I've had a clear point of view. For God's sake, I got shot in my nose. I was facing them directly. I watched everything occur and have described it, vehemently to all parties involved. I think in our society, we have respectability politics. There are people who want to be adjacent to power or celebrity or money, and there's a hierarchy of respectability. Because his name was more notable, he was believed rather than a victim who gave a first-hand account. By the grace of God, I survived.
Yeah, and this was also a different time. Things were very, very different in 1999. Did you sense right from the beginning that no one believed you?
Well, I don't think that was on my mind. I think first and foremost, I'm a mother. I'm a mother of 3. At the time, I was a mother of 2. And just surviving and getting home to my children was of the utmost importance to me. Being whole and being able to mother them. That was, primary on my list. I didn't have any reason to believe to think that someone would not believe me. But as things unfolded, it was a very short period of time where I realized that's what in fact was happening.
So, as I mentioned, Diddy has denied being the one who pulled the trigger. But this is interesting, Natanya. Rodney Jones, also known as Little Rod, is now suing Diddy for sexual harassment. That's something that's been in the headlines for the last couple of days. And there's a very interesting quote from his lawsuit that relates back to you that I want to read because it sort of ties all of this together. And it says, Jones claims in the lawsuit, Mr. Combs shared that he was responsible for the shooting in the nightclub in New York City with rapper Shyne. He shared that artist and Mr. Combs' girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, aka JLo, carried the gun into the club for him and passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with another individual. So now you have Little Rod in this new lawsuit saying that Diddy told him that he actually was responsible. I mean, what did you think when you read that?
Well, I was incensed for a number of reasons. First and foremost, for the past quarter of a century, he's vehemently denied that he was responsible, even though I knew wholeheartedly, and as so many others who were in the club that night, we all knew he was responsible. A lot of people were afraid for their safety, justifiably so. I mean, the history that has occurred in the last 25 years proves that they were justified in being afraid. But I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid because I still bear I have 9 bullet fragments remaining in my face. So when I saw that count 128, that's actually count 128 of the lawsuit. When I saw that on a podcast that was analyzing all of the counts, I knew I had to speak. I had no intention of going viral. I was just getting it out of me. I have a mantra, having my say. There was a time a few years ago where I had a talk radio show called Having My Say. And that's very important to me. I believe everyone is entitled to have their say. Far too often we don't hear people or listen. And so I just wanted to get it out of me because it was like an audible, deep breath that I needed to take. And I made the TikTok video not expecting it to go viral. Went to pick up my daughter, came back home, and she's like, and I literally told her, I'm like, well, you're probably going to see it tomorrow. I made a video on TikTok. Maybe 100 people will see it. By the time we got home, she said, Mommy, it was 70,000 people. And I could not believe it. But it was time. It was time for me to speak. I'd stayed quiet for 25 years. It was my time to speak.
Yeah, we don't know yet what's going to happen with the P. Diddy situation. Obviously, again, he hasn't been arrested. There's clearly a very big federal investigation happening now. But I'm thinking back to other cases, R. Kelly, Jeffrey Epstein. When they started to dig, all sorts of stuff came to the surface. They reopened old investigations. Would you like to see the investigation involving you getting shot at that club be reopened?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The irony is there was a grand jury. We all had to go and speak at the grand jury. JLo testified at the grand jury, as did many other people. It needs to be reopened because if that is in fact the case, she carried the gun in and she lied to the grand jury. It needs to be reopened. My shooting, ironically, the night I went into the club, I had a comb in my pocketbook called a rat tail comb. People in the beauty industry or people that use that type of comb would be all too familiar. It's just a comb. It can't do anything to harm anyone. And I had the very security officer who lied during the trial, Sharice, I forget her last name, but she literally took it from me and kind of pushed me like, you can't take this thing. This is a weapon. To let other people in with guns. If someone had combed me 24 years ago, I'd be fine. You wouldn't even know my name. But having been shot by someone that was allowed to come into a gun when I couldn't bring in a comb, I would absolutely unequivocally like the case reopened. It needs to be reopened. And the saddest part for me is, had people taken what I said more seriously and listened more intently, 24 years worth of people probably would not have had to suffer.
Yeah, and I ask you this respectfully, just because I think people at home might be wondering, and I've never been shot. I can't imagine what that's like. But, you know, in the chaos of that moment, and it's a club and there's people all around, like, how can you be sure that it was actually P. Diddy?
Because I was standing by the front door. I watched the entire thing out. I had no reason to believe that it would escalate to a shooting. It was just male machismo and bravado at first. A lot of pushing and shoving, raised voices, hands. But then I saw them reach in their waist and draw from their hip. And I instantly turned to my friends and told them, be careful, watch out. And when I turned back, I know, and I've said over and over, I've heard the voice of God said, you are about to be calm down. And as I said no, I looked straight forward ahead and I watched the muzzle flash from both of their guns and I felt the impact to my face instantly.
Wow.
There's no doubt in my mind who shot me.
Yeah.
All right. So listening to that and hearing her story, I don't know if you caught it, but I believe she's also implicating JLo too, because she says that JLo pulled out the weapon, handed it to Sean, and Sean began to buck. And she said she watched the entire thing because, like she said to the interviewer, she never had any reason to think that it was going to get to that extent, because she was carrying a comb in her handbag or wherever she was carrying it, a rat tail comb. And you all are familiar, I'm sure, with what a rat tail comb is. Some of them have the long metal pick at the end. Some of them, they just are the same material as the comb, but it's, that end part is just more slender and whatnot. And she wasn't even able to take that into the club. So she had no reason to believe that anyone was able to bring a weapon into the place. But being who he was, he didn't have that same type of, search and seizure, if you will, that the other club goers had, because he was someone that was seen as above it all. He's Diddy. He's Puffy. He's Puff Daddy, whatever they were labeling him at the time, or whatever he was labeling himself, because we know he's the only one that gave himself all of these different names. So I believe that with all of these things being said, like she said, she was even saying this to the surgeon. It was Puffy. It was Sean Combs that did this to me. They would not listen to her. For the life of me, I don't understand. Even if they did try him and find him not guilty, I'm not saying that would be okay either. But at least they would have listened to her to say, no, Shyne was not the one that did this. Sean, not Shyne, Sean was the one that did this. Even if they did not find him guilty, they didn't convict him, at least they would have said, well, we did try it. We did try him. And unfortunately, it didn't work. I don't care if she got a civil lawsuit filed and received a civil settlement. That does not take away from the fact that he was not punished criminally and somebody else was, and they were the ones that had to serve time for something that he did. And so now it's making even more sense to me, okay, why JLo got out of there. It wasn't just because she felt unsafe or whatever. To me, what it sounded like, this woman is saying JLo was implicated as well, because she was giving him why would you even give that to him? She handed it to him, is what the woman said. And then these dummies that are out here defending him, like you've got is he a former rapper or is he still a rapper? Slim Thug out here talking about the black community turning on Diddy. Ridiculous.
I don't want to see a black man who came so far, almost to $1 billion, fall down. That's our inspiration for it ain't too many of us. I don't want to see they took Kanye down. We forgot about Kanye. And the good thing he able to do his own, man. That's how I look at it, man. We losing another billionaire over allegations at this point. Still ain't no criminal charges. You know what I'm saying? We only got about 1 billionaire left. Who? Jay-Z? That's the only motherfucker left. Everybody else, let's take the off of it and who that person is, right? Man, listen. Look at who is wishing this dude fail. You know what I'm saying? It's his own people. It's his own people cheering him, laughing, and Diddy did it and coming up with new slogans for him. It's his own people, man. Like, so take note of this. Man, you would think the motherfucker, he thought a year or two ago when we were popping Ciroc, he thought that we would ride or die for him, man. Like, he thought that the motherfucking world of hip-hop would stay down and over, you know, especially without him having a case. Like, especially without him having a case, he would think, hey, man, motherfucker, they're gonna ride for me. I live for this hip-hop shit. I lived and died this shit. The hip-hop community is gonna ride for my innocence. He would assume, I'm sure. Say if he did that, then whatever he get. But so far, I haven't seen no criminal charges. So out for that, I'ma just sit back and hope for the best, you know? I don't want to see nobody go down, man. And for people to celebrate that, love that, want to see that, it's weird to me, man. So, like, it made me want to stay in the house. And people...
Stay in the house. I don't even want to play any more of that bowl because He sounds ridiculous. We only got like 1 billionaire left, Jay-Z. First of all, there are not that many billionaires in the world, period. So, yeah, there is going to be a minority of them anyway. But that goes to speak to the idolization of people that people have because of the stuff that people have obtained and accumulated. And some earned and some robbed and stole. And in my personal opinion, Diddy is one of those people that did not deserve to be in that space anyway because of how he got up. You know, they say the same people that you see on your way up are going to be the same ones when you see coming down. And the come down is going to be quick because it happens faster than the come up. You know, it takes time to climb stairs, but see how long it takes to fall down those same stairs. You know what I mean? And so for Slim Thug to sit here and talk about how people are making jokes, I don't care about the jokes. What about him being held accountable for the things that he actually did, even if it hasn't gotten to a space of him being charged criminally for anything? When Cassie's lawsuit came out and all of those allegations were stated, the people like the Slim Thugs of the world were sitting there talking about Cassie and what she chose to do. Well, she wanted it. She wanted the lifestyle. She wanted this. She wanted that. I have said before, and I completely believe this, that yeah, she may have wanted her career and wanted to have a very nice lifestyle before, but I believe it got to the point where she was a bona fide sex slave, being held in bondage. No different, maybe a little bit different because of the things that she got to enjoy, if you can call it even really enjoying, but not even really different from, example, these females that are in the FLDS, that community of Amish people, not Amish, whatever they are, you know what I mean, the Latter-day Saints, where their leader, Warren Jeffs, is in prison for life, but they were marrying 12 and 13 and 14-year-old girls. And even the women that are of age that get married to these men and they have these multiple marriages, do you think a lot of these women really want to be in that? If they really knew what was better for them and what was out there and they weren't being scared into staying where they are, some of them have broken free and broken out of that. But for people like Slim Thug, they were making Cassie out to be not a victim. Well, she wanted to be there. She enjoyed it. She was living the lifestyle. She was living it up, whatever. Like, they were not holding him accountable and not saying anything about how fast he resolved that. And then now they want to make it like Diddy's children are children. Again, they will always be his children, but they're not babies. The guys that were there that got handcuffed, 29 and 25, I believe. Like, let's just be real. Get out of here with that. You know, even Albie Shore calling for his son to come home. That's all well and good too, but his son is in his 30s. Again, I'm hopeful that the bonds that were built with Albie Shore's biological son and Quincy and Diddy, God will some way allow those bonds to be broken so that he can break free from that and build a relationship and bond with his biological father. But at this point in time, he's an adult and he's going to make the choice to do what he wants to do and be where he wants to be and be with who he wants to be with. He's not a little kid anymore, you know? But for somebody like this loser, and then the other one, Luke, that they call Uncle Luke, I would never, ever, ever call him my uncle. But trying to get out here to speak about how great a guy Diddy is.
Max out in your campaign. Matter of fact, I'm going to generate a couple $100,000 or $1 million to put in your campaign. You win the seat. You didn't call up the president. President didn't say, hey, look here, man, nominate this mother right here. So now you got to You got the state judge. So then now you black man who don't own these people company, you want to talk all your cash money and you want to go after these people, what ends up happening? They start the smear campaign because they down with the media. They got to smear you before you go into the courtroom of your peers. They go, okay, we can't settle with this dude. We'll have no voice of reason. He want to act crazy. Now we're going to go after you. Now we're going to call up our same senator. Hey, man, I need you, man, go issue a search warrant, man. I need you to drag this. And I'm going to max out. You trying to sue this major corporation, this major respectable corporation, and they're going to say how many people they employ, how many people, and half the people on the jury drink they half of the people on the jury, children walking around with their paraphernalia on. You get ready to sue them, and they'd have made you, through the media, they'd have made you a crazy man, and they'd have made you a goddamn pedophile. They'd have made you everything that you're not. And you're trying to sue this major corporation. Good, that's what we call it. I want you to drag his, I want you to have all kind of allegations, so by the time he come in this courtroom, he gonna wish he know we're gonna take every dime you got. Cause we made you. You didn't make us. God damn it. You with my stock, you my money, you me. I'm gonna you. I'm gonna break you out to the lowest term. That's how they boss.
Enough of him. He sounds so stupid. He's trying to reference the lawsuit that Diddy waged against the company Diageo last year for racial discrimination, which I did discuss a little bit over here on my platform. And he was exposed for pretty much being nothing more than a glorified brand ambassador and not really an owner. They gave him opportunity to really invest in this opportunity. He only put in $1,000. Okay. And then he wanted to sue the company for racial discrimination. And I felt like it was just ridiculous. And then, not immediately, and then the lawsuit comes out in December that Cassie filed. But you better believe that didn't just come out of the blue. Cassie and her legal team, they were trying to negotiate something with him before this got to the point where it was filed and became a public thing. So when it becomes public, then he wanted to settle almost immediately. This has nothing to do with Diageo, but the conspiracy theorists of the world, and I, call them these hood lawyers who think they just really know the laws of the judicial system as well as the universe, if you will, that this is bigger than what you can even imagine. This is all because he had the nerve and the balls to go against this big company, this big organization, and call them out for racial discrimination. So, you want to do that to us? Then we're really going to expose you now. We're going to have a raid done on your home, and we're going to have all of these people filing these lawsuits against you to claim that you did this, that you did A, B, C, and X, Y, and Z. I don't care how much money that company had. They don't have that type of power to have these people come up and conjure these stories that are not true about him to put out there. Everything that these people are saying that Diddy did, I believe them. I'm not saying 100% of the things are true, but I am saying that everything that they're saying he did, I believe, and I have the right to believe it. And if the things were not true, he wouldn't have settled with Cassie that quickly. Hell, I'm still going through a car accident case right now where the other person was 100% at fault for hitting me, and they still haven't settled. And I was injured. Like, there's no question who was at fault. So I'm saying, just because someone settles a lawsuit doesn't mean that they have to admit guilt. But a lot of times it is because there's some guilt there. And the way that he settles so quickly, I believe it was because he was. And so him, meaning this Luke character, trying to come out here to spin this narrative that this is bigger than the allegations that are put out there, and he's really a nice guy, he's a good guy, and he's this, he's that, and I don't believe any of those things, then you really have some issues, and people don't need to listen to anything that he or people like him have to say, because he is not a good guy. I listened to him giving some commentary on some things yesterday, and I was like, please get it off of him. I cannot listen to him anymore. But I just feel like it's really insane. It's absolutely ridiculous that people are trying to come out here and windmill for this dude. And it's like, you'd have been better off just not saying anything, because the people that I feel are closest to him in the industry, they're not coming out and defending him. Actually, what I've been seeing is people, the ones that actually have been speaking, they have been disassociating themselves from him. I saw where Kanye West declined speaking to him at an event, the Rolling Loud, I think it was called. He declined to speak to him when he asked to have a conversation with him. I saw where one of his former backup dancers, said she had separated herself from him a while ago. Like, people are not, the ones that were closest to him working in the industry, they're not coming out here defending Diddy. Actually, they're either not saying anything, or they're saying, talk to the hand, or talk to my back, because I'm walking away from this situation. I don't have anything to do with it. So you guys let me know what you think about this. Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks so much for being here, for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.
Wonder if we maybe were mistaken. Don't wanna talk, don't wanna see